pending. Our last bill of the day, House Bill 609. The chair lays out House Bill 609 and recognizes Representative Vasut to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee, for the opportunity to lay out House Bill 609. Last session, the legislature passed SB 6, which extends certain liability protections to individuals, organizations, and institutions for actions they may take in response to a pandemic. The bill, however, did not extend liability protections for exposure claims to business owners who do not require their employees or contractors to get vaccinated. Regardless of how any of us may feel about a particular vaccine, that's irrelevant here. It's my belief that individuals ought to be free to determine when they do or do not receive medical treatment, including a vaccine, and it is my belief that we should protect this liberty interest. House Bill 609 protects this liberty interest by extending liability protections from exposure claims to businesses who do not require employees or contractors to be vaccinated against a pandemic disease. Without this bill, you would have a business owner potentially in the position of having to decide between respecting medical freedom or facing litigation for exposure claims. And I don't believe we should have to put them in that situation. So we've given liability protections for a number of reasons, and I would simply suggest that respecting individual liberty ought to be another. Reserve the right to close.
Members, any questions? Okay. We will recognize you've reserved your right to close, Representative Vasut. There are several witnesses who've all registered for positions on the bill. There's 3 witnesses who wish to testify. So the chair calls Michelle Evans, Greg Porter, and Tom Glass. And again, if anyone wishes to testify on for or against House Bill 609,
Sure. I think we have to share.
Would ask that you make yourselves known as soon as possible. Is Mr. Glass here? Okay.
He's in the building.
Okay, Ms. Evans, good to see you. If you'll state your name and your affiliation, your position on House Bill 609.
Good to see you as well. My name is Michelle Evans, and I'm the Legislative Director for Texans for Vaccine Choice. I'm representing myself and Texans for Vaccine Choice, and I'm testifying for the bill.
Okay.
Good morning, Chairman Leach, Vice Chair Johnson, and esteemed committee members, and happy International Women's Day. As Texas emerges from the extraordinary circumstances of the last 3 years, the legislature is tasked with closing the gaps in statute that were discovered through the trial and error of responding to COVID-19. Last session, SB 6 was passed with an overwhelming majority in both chambers and made huge inroads, but left uncertainties for business owners. When Texas businesses were threatened with fines from federal agencies for not complying with vaccine mandates, many business owners stood their ground while waiting for the courts to determine the mandate's fate. Still, even after most of the mandates were nullified, other businesses continue to require vaccines for fear of being faced with frivolous lawsuits from clients, customers, or employees attempting to claim that they were exposed to the pandemic disease at their place of business. This type of pressure loomed large, with Liberty Mutual Insurance Company noting a staggering surge in lawsuits against business owners for allegations of contracting the virus due to negligence in adhering to public health department mandates or recommendations, a surge that the company expects will continue. Many business owners were faced with repeated closures and reopenings as customers and employees reported virus exposure at the business, causing a tremendous amounts of financial loss. These employers struggled with the lack of clarity in law and an unwillingness on the part of Congress to absolve them of liability. Other employers have noted that requiring vaccines has left them unable to hire or retain staff. HB 609 is a necessary step toward protecting Texas business owners from the inevitable fallout of future public health emergencies. As the foundation of our state's economy, these businesses deserve to be able to thrive and grow and be free to allow their employees to make private medical decisions without government interference or fear of frivolous lawsuits. Thank you for this opportunity. I urge you to vote yes on 609, and I welcome any questions.
Right, thank you, Ms. Evans. Members, any questions for Ms. Evans? Okay, seeing none. The chair recognizes Greg Porter. If you'll state your name, your affiliation, your position.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chairman Leach. Thank you, Representative Vasut, for drafting this legislation. My name is Gregory Porter, and I'm the co-founder of Texas for Liberty and the Texas Liberty Council. And, you know, one of the things I think is really important here that really catches me up a little bit is this should really be a nonpartisan issue. And unfortunately, this has become a partisan issue. I, admittedly, for many years have been very left-leaning, quite candidly, and things have changed a lot for me with COVID. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business owner, And we find ourselves in a very tricky situation where the pro-liberty position and the respectful position is actually to restrict business in this case, in some cases. But what we really need to do, I think that if we really look at everything that we've learned from COVID, I think we can all agree that there are a tremendous amount of financial conflicts of interest that we saw unfold in COVID. That's something that we can all agree about. And the only way that we can protect that is to protect the right of choice. And so this bill equips the right of the business owner to decide what they believe is right and provides a reasonable indemnity so that they're not at risk of doing such. And I just want to say clearly, because there probably will be some other bills on this, but I don't agree that a business should be able to mandate a vaccine either. And that's another separate issue. I'm here in support of this bill. But it's really important that we orientate our view of this from the perspective of respecting individual liberty. That's why we're here. And so I'm grateful for the bill. I think it's very sensible, it's concise, and I would request that the committee put this on the floor and let's put it into law. Thank you.
Members, any questions?
One.
Representative Basut.
Mr. Porter, are you here testifying on behalf of yourself?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you beat me to it. And your position on the bill?
Is 4.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Members, any questions for the witness? All right, seeing none, our last witness is Tom Glass. If you'll state your name, your affiliation, your position on House Bill 609.
Yes, my name is Tom Glass. I represent Texas. I need a different. Okay. My name is Tom Glass. I represent Texas Constitutional Enforcement, and I'm representing myself as well as Texas Constitutional Enforcement, and I'm in favor of the bill.
Okay, so you're here on behalf of yourself and Texas Constitution?
Yes, right.
And you're in favor of House Bill 609?
Yes,
All right,
thank you. I'm in favor of this because, not because I think that lawsuits of this nature will prevail. I went to law school. I learned the Paulsgraf case about proximate cause. And I think any communicable disease, torts, or negligence stuff, it gets so wrapped up in terms of direct cause. If somebody take an action that directly causes another person's illness, that I don't think that any lawsuits like this would actually prevail. And so, but the deal is, you shouldn't have to. Business owners shouldn't have to take the ride, even though they're not going to get the rap. And on top of that, they should be incented and know that not to be fearful to do the right thing, which is to respect the bodily autonomy and the inalienable rights of their employees and not force them into taking a vax. So I believe this is good public policy because most business people just don't understand what proximate cause is and all the legal stuff for torts, and they just need to be reassured that what they're doing is okay and not have the fear that they have to do something that they really shouldn't be doing. So that's why I support it.
Thank you, Tom. Vice Chair Davis.
No, I don't have a question for him, for you.
Oh, okay. Members, are there any questions for Mr. Glass? All right. Does anyone else wish to testify on, for, or against House Bill 609? All right, seeing none. Vice Chair Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would you ask someone from Health and Human Services or the right person to come before the committee so we can discuss how this impacts public health from a standpoint of their role to protect society? I think it's important that we hear that perspective.
I agree, Vice Chair Davis, and I was going to comment before I recognize Representative Basut to close. I don't enjoy rushing like this, and don't want to make this a practice of this committee to rush through any bill, especially a bill like this. And so, but because we're on a time crunch and we have to get to the floor, what we'll do is I'm going to recognize you to close. We'll leave it pending. And then when we bring up pending business, either next week, or certainly before we vote, Representative, we can have a resource witness here from HHSC, and we can even open public testimony again if we need to. So thank you. Members, any other questions? Okay, with that, the chair recognizes Representative Basut to close on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, witnesses, for testifying. Members, for your consideration. Happy to answer any questions offline, and I close.
Okay, members, any questions for Representative Basut? All right, seeing none, the chair will leave House Bill 609 pending at this time.